A young shepherd boy, tending to his flock as usual, suddenly noticed one of his sheep had strayed from the group. Following the wayward animal's trail, he found himself at the entrance of a dark, mysterious cave. Deep within the cavern, he stumbled upon a collection of ancient scrolls, later confirmed to be 2,400-year-old manuscripts of the Old Testament. These ancient manuscripts, named the Dead Sea Scrolls after their place of discovery, sent shockwaves through academic circles. They predated the widely circulated versions of the Bible by a significant margin. Prior to this find, most known Bible texts were copies dating from the 11th century CE or later. The Dead Sea Scrolls, however, were written around 400 BCE, several centuries before the birth of Jesus. What was once thought to be a chronicle of Jesus' life suddenly transformed into a mysterious tome containing prophecies. Scholars began to reevaluate the nature and function of the Bible, no longer viewing it merely as a historical document, but exploring its potential prophetic capabilities. In 1980, a group of scientists decided to employ modern technology to decipher this ancient text. They input the Hebrew version of the Old Testament into a computer, aiming to explore potentially hidden information through data analysis. Astonishingly, they discovered that the Bible seemed to predict numerous major events that occurred in later times, including the 9/11 terrorist attacks, Japan's 3/11 earthquake, Taiwan's 9/21 earthquake, and even the recent global pandemic. These findings raised a profound question. Does the Bible not only record the past, but also foretell the future? If these prophecies indeed exist, was the Bible authored by humans or by some entity beyond human comprehension? In the early hours of September 1, 1994, Israeli mathematician Eliahu Rips paced restlessly in his study. He had just applied a special mathematical formula, seemingly cracking an astonishing secret hidden within the Bible. Time was of the essence, and he decided to immediately set out for the Israeli capital to submit an urgent document. In his letter, Rips warned then-Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin that he might face assassination the following year. This prediction was derived from decrypting hidden messages in the Bible. Although the claim sounded preposterous, Rips reminded the Prime Minister that the names of Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and the Kennedy brothers had also appeared in the Bible code, and they had indeed fallen victim to assassination. On November 4, 1995, just as the prophecy had indicated, Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated by Yigal Amir following a public event. The occurrence of this event forced people to reconsider the credibility of the Bible code. Even more astoundingly, Rips later discovered that the name of the Prime Minister's assassin had also appeared in the Bible's code. Since its inception, the Bible seems to have predicted countless occurrences worldwide. Particularly noteworthy is the Hebrew version of the Old Testament, which, according to statistics, contains up to 1,239 fulfilled prophecies. One of the most striking prophecies relates to the fate of the Jewish people. In 66 CE, the Jews rebelled against Roman oppression but ultimately failed, beginning a 2,000-year period of exile. It wasn't until 1948 that the Jews finally returned to Israel and established their own state. This historic event had been prophesied in the book of Ezekiel more than 2,500 years earlier. Chapters 36 and 37 of Ezekiel state, "Thus says the Lord, I will gather the people of Israel from the nations where they have gone, and will bring them to their own land. I will make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Israel." Beyond these explicitly recorded prophecies, many more hidden predictions were decrypted through the so-called Bible code method. Through computer analysis, researchers discovered that the Bible seemed to predict the outbreak of World War II and its primary instigator, Hitler. Furthermore, the assassination of President Lincoln, the Wright brothers' invention of the airplane, the 1929 economic crisis, and even the global pandemic of 2020 were all reflected in these codes. In the 1950s, a Jewish rabbi named Weissmandl made an intriguing discovery. He removed all the spaces between letters in the Old Testament and then selected every 50th letter. Surprisingly, he found that the word Torah appeared repeatedly throughout the entire Old Testament. In Hebrew, Torah represents the 5 books of Moses, and this discovery shocked many theologians. According to legend, when Moses received the Bible from God, the text was continuous, without any breaks between words. Although Weissmandl's discovery attracted some attention, it wasn't until the 1980s that scholars began to study it in depth. Mathematician Eliahu Rips and physicist Doron Witztum decided to input the contents of the Old Testament into a computer, removing all spaces between words as in the legend, attempting to recreate the original form of the Bible as Moses received it from God. Their findings were shocking. Through this method, they discovered that the Bible seemed to contain information about many major world events. including the times they occurred, the people involved, and the locations. To verify the reliability of this discovery, Rips and Witztum contacted mathematicians from world-renowned institutions. After repeated verification by multiple scholars, they reached an astounding conclusion. The probability of such coincidences occurring was only 1 in 50 trillion. In 1994, the research team published their years of findings in the journal Statistical Science. Unlike previous Bible studies primarily conducted by religious figures or theologians, this time it was mathematicians and physicists who discovered the Bible code. However, just as people were marveling at this discovery, someone uncovered an even more shocking fact. Long before Rips and Witztum, another great scientist had attempted to crack the Bible code. This person was none other than the famous physicist Isaac Newton. In fact, mathematical and physical research only accounted for 16% of Newton's lifelong writings, while a staggering 80% of his manuscripts were related to theological studies. During his lifetime, Newton had stated that the perfection of the universe system suggested the existence of a supreme designer, who created the stars and planets. Newton firmly believed in the existence of God, a belief that profoundly influenced his scientific research and outlook on life. Even more surprisingly, researchers at the National Library of Israel in Jerusalem discovered Newton's early lost manuscripts. These manuscripts revealed that Newton had attempted to decipher the Bible code using mathematical formulas. This discovery indicates that centuries before Eliahu Rips, Newton had already noticed the potential secrets hidden in the Bible. The records of Austrian astronomer Freistedt also corroborate this, mentioning that Newton seemed to have perceived some mysterious connection between the Bible and historical events occurring at the time. In Newton's manuscripts, one number repeatedly appears: 2060. Researchers speculate that Newton might have calculated from the Bible that a major event would occur in 2060, possibly leading to the rebirth or significant transformation of the world. In 2017, researchers discovered invisible text in the blank spaces of the Dead Sea Scrolls. After instrumental analysis, experts speculated that these invisible words might have been written with special ink by those who transcribed the scriptures 2,400 years ago. This discovery once again captured worldwide attention. People speculated about what kind of content would need to be recorded in invisible ink. Were these hidden words related to the year 2060 mentioned in Newton's manuscripts? As technology advances, more sophisticated methods may be employed in the future to interpret the Bible and other ancient texts. However, in exploring these mysterious phenomena, we need to maintain rational and critical thinking, carefully scrutinizing every claim of discovered prophecies or codes.